Hi, everybody. It is Monday morning. It's April 10th. I had a fun, interesting, very meaningful session with one of my clients today who loves the game of golf. So I am going to share with you a little bit of the things we've talked through here and see if this can be of help to you. The question of the day was, Bella, why is it that I can do this when I play golf? But then you and I meet, and I cannot take what I do on the golf course. I cannot translate it into my life. So by it, this is what he meant. He meant that when he plays golf, he plays the game as it's supposed to be played. Hits the ball, walks up to the ball, walks up to the ball, looks at it, and stops for 60 or 90 seconds, okay? It then analyzes the landscape, looks at the tree, at the wind, how far away he is from the hole, considers everything. You know, what skills he has, what's possible to hit, looks at his golf bag. He has 14 different 14 different golf clubs. He chooses one, the intensity of the swing, how fast he's going to swing, where he's going to aim, you know, all this preparation that takes anywhere between 60 to 90 seconds for the very best and possible outcome. He hits the golf shot, lets it go, looks at the ball, does it all over again. On a good day, he will do that 70, 75 times. On a bad day, he's going to do that 85 times. Whatever. That's just the kind of golfer he is, okay? So then the second question was, well, you know, when I get to my golf ball, I'm not really trying to make the situation better. I accept it. I'm just like, okay, the ball is where it is. I'm not kicking the ball to the right. I'm not kicking the ball to the left. I am just literally playing golf as it meant to be played. But I can't take any of this into my life. And this is what he meant by not being able to take it into his life. He meant that he doesn't take 3 to 5 minutes between one moment to another. He's just going through his day like crazy. It's from email to phone, from phone to email, to meetings, to spouse, to a child, to going to do this. It's just like it's nonstop. It's boom, 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 boom. There's no space between one moment to the other. Okay. Second, he very rarely stops when he gets an email or a person is in front of him or the meeting is about to start, to sit there and say, okay, this is what's right here in front of me. What are some of the tools? What are some of the resources that I have? What are some of the things that I have to consider for the very best and possible outcome of this moment? It's just a reaction. It's one reaction after another that is coming out in frustration, in anger, in lack of understanding from others to him, doesn't understand his spouse, doesn't understand his children, can't get along with the secretary. It's just like, you name it. Things are just like boom, boom, boom. It's very overwhelming. So that was the work. It was figuring it out. How do we transfer over this moment-to-moment awareness, this pondering and this reflection that takes place for 60 or 90 seconds between each golf shot into life's moments? How can we create a little bit of space between each stimulus or each moment in life? And the third point that he made was, I'm always wanting people to act different, say different, speak different, write differently. I want the situation in front of me to be anything different than what it is so that I can cope with it. And then he said, well, Bella, that to me was like kicking the ball to the right or to the left. If I'm playing golf and I kick the ball to the right or to the left, I'm making the situation better so that I can, you know, it's easier for me to deal with it. It's like, well, I don't do that in golf. Why am I doing this in my life? So that's the question. the question that I'm here to share with you is, how are you living your life? Even if you're not a golfer, what this brings us an opportunity to reflect on is that during an entire day, we are going to have various moments, from emails to meetings to people to demands, that requires us to be present and that requires us to access inner tools in our minds, in our hearts, to meet the demand of that moment for a good, hopefully a good and positive outcome. Okay? Also, it is possible that we can take a little bit of time between each moment to just take a deep breath, to just move a little bit slower in the world from one thing to another. Just like in golf, you walk and you create a little bit of space from one golf shot into another. And the third one, which is the most important one, is paying attention as to whether we are accepting each moment as they are, right there in front of us, and turning internally, using our own skills, mental, emotional, physical, our own tools to meet that moment, or are we wanting people and things and places in life, each moment, to be different than what they are so that it's easier to deal with them? In other words, are we wanting to control what's right in front of us because we don't have the tools, right? So in golf, if I have a bad lie and I feel like I cannot hit this golf shot because it's too difficult, I just kick the ball 5 feet to the left. That improves things for me. And I'm like, oh, now I get to hit this shot. I know how to hit this one. I didn't know how to hit that one, but I can hit this one. And in life, it's kind of like, oh, I don't really like how this person speaks or writes or interacts around me. So I'm going to use all of my time and my energy and my anger into wishing and hoping that this person could be a different version of herself or himself so that I can be okay in the world. So as you can see, and as you can tell, it's hard work. But we could definitely use the game of golf and transfer it over into our life. And I'm not saying that each of us has to have 14 different tools or 14 different skills to meet each life's moment. That may be a bit much. But maybe 2 or 3 would be a good idea. Stopping and pondering for 60 or 90 seconds would be a good idea. Reflecting or thinking about the best possible outcome out of a situation before we start thinking or reacting or screaming or yelling would be a good thing. Choosing our words wisely would be a good idea. Our tone, all of those things. So I guess that's what I'm going to leave you with today. It's just like, how are you going through your day? If your life were to be around a golf, are you doing okay? Are you walking peacefully around the golf course, being present, being centered, and taking each moment for the very best possible outcome? Or are you just going through it without any thinking, any processing, any pondering, any reflection? And more importantly, the second question is, what tools do you have? Do you feel that you have strong tools internally, mentally, physically, emotionally to be coping with what your life is bringing to you each and every minute? Or do you feel like you're reacting 1 second after another and it feels overwhelming and busy and angry and tiring and everything is just too much every day? So think that through. If possible, identify what's going well what it is that you need to keep doing. And if you identify that you need some internal work and some tools, then I say, wake up tomorrow and make a decision to work on it and to equip yourself. It's possible. It's doable. Just like the game of golf, you have to practice. You're not going to be great at it overnight just because you want to. So just because you want to be calm doesn't mean you don't have to practice how to be calm. If you want to speak clearly and calmly and politely, you have to practice. You have to know how to do it. And just like golf, you have to practice when it doesn't count. You have to practice when things are calm. During quiet times, you have to set time aside on your schedule to say, today I'm going to spend some time working on how I communicate, on how I treat others, or how I respond to my emails, or how I answer the phone when my wife calls or my husband calls, or today I'm going to practice how I'm going to speak to my son when he comes home and tells me something maybe I'm not ready to hear. So that when the real deal is right there in front of you, you've practiced and you know how to show up and meet that moment a little bit better than you're doing right now. So there you go. I love the game of golf. I love what it has taught me, what it continues to teach me, the discipline, the hard work. And I'm going to say that in life, there isn't much of kicking the ball to the right or to the left. You have got to take it, the ball where it lies, and you got to go for it. Do the best you can with what you have. And you're better off by having a good set of tools. And as soon as you start feeling stronger in your mind, in your heart, and you have more tools in your toolbox, it's interesting how things kind of start taking care of themselves, and it feels a little bit easier and lighter to navigate through the day. Life becomes more enjoyable, and you really don't have to worry about other people, how they live, what they do, how they write, how they act. You know who you are. You know what tools you have to meet each moment. You set your boundaries, you set your limits, and I don't think life ever becomes easier, but you do tend at that moment to navigate through the world with a little bit more joy, with a little bit more gratitude, with a little bit more patience. For some reason, I just feel like the moment you start taking care of itself and the more tools you put in your toolbox, things around you kind of tend to take care of itself. So that was my session today. If you don't play golf, I recommend you give it a shot. If you play golf, then keep enjoying the game. And thanks for listening.